Hello and welcome to Open, the show opening the Bronx and the rest of the world to you. I'm Gary Axelbank, filling in for my buddy Darren Jaime. And today we'll update you on what's happening in our borough and throughout New York City. Coming up, summer break can be about more than time away from the classroom. We'll look at how Bronx students spent their summer building new skills and turning ideas into real-world projects. Then we'll look at one organization that's stepping up to advocate for immigrant children and help make sure that their voices aren't lost in the process. Next, for some people living with psoriasis, the biggest risk may actually be happening beneath the surface. We'll look at the warning signs that could point to a serious joint condition and why recognizing them early can make all the difference. And lastly, we all know that what we put into our bodies can affect how we feel, but what about what we put into our minds? We'll explore a different kind of diet and how changing the way we think could help break cycles of stress and anxiety. So stay tuned. All this and much more is headed your way because now we're officially open. Hello, friends and neighbors in the Bronx. I'm Gary Axelbank, and you are now watching Open, a program bringing the Bronx and New York City right to you. You can stay connected to us on all social media platforms at Bronxnet TV. Some things have been going on throughout the past week, and we'll take you through those with some Bronx updates. In local news, residents in Castle Hill are speaking out about some of the biggest challenges facing their neighborhood. At a recent community roundtable, residents raised concerns about crime, affordable housing, and the rising cost of living, while calling for solutions that can improve quality of life. Reporter Brittany Schuyler has the story.
Residents in Castle Hill came together to discuss the issues they say are having the biggest impact on their quality of life. At a community roundtable at the Castle Hill Community Center, neighbors spoke candidly about rising crime, the increasing cost of living, and the importance of protecting rent-stabilized housing. The event gave residents a chance to share their concerns directly with local leaders and advocate for meaningful solutions. Crime was a major focus of the discussion, with community members expressing concerns about safety and calling for stronger partnerships between residents, law enforcement, and local organizations to help reduce crime and improve neighborhood security. Housing affordability was another key topic, as residents stressed the need to preserve rent-stabilized apartments amid rising rents and fears of displacement. Others highlighted the financial strain of paying for everyday essentials, saying the soaring cost of groceries, utilities, and other household expenses is making it increasingly difficult for families to get by. Organizers say the roundtable was created to ensure residents have a voice in the decisions shaping their community. While the conversation centered on some of Castle Hill's toughest challenges, attendees shared a common goal: creating a safer, more affordable neighborhood where families can live and thrive. Reporting for Bronxnet, Brittany Schuyler.
Thank you very much, Brittany. And that's all for the Bronx updates. We have to take a quick break, but we'll have more Open when we return.
Only 57% of New York City high school students are college ready by their senior year. "55% of high school graduates either have no plans to attend college or are uncertain that they will ever attend. "34% of young adults don't go to college because they can't afford it. Discover what's possible. Bronxnet's education programs, internships, and opportunities help engage and inspire Bronx youth and beyond to pursue their passions. Be a part of the Bronxnet family. Whether you're interested in our shows, joining a class, or donating to support our mission, visit bronxnet.org to learn more.
Welcome back. This summer, students at the South Bronx Community Charter High School took part in a 6-week accelerator program that combined math and computer coding with hands-on robotics projects, etc. Now that the program has wrapped up, we're going to take a look at what students accomplished and how experiences like that can help prepare them for the future. Joining us to share more is John Clement, who is the co-founder and executive director of the South Bronx Community Charter High School. Nice to see you, Mr. Clement.
Very nice to meet you as well.
Just the philosophy of the school, you're the co-founder, et cetera, et cetera. Why did you found the school, and what is the objective that makes it unique?
Very simply, we're here to create better opportunities, particularly for young Black and Latino students in the South Bronx, ensure that they have a pathway not only to college, but also to future and careers. And so we have really a best-in-class internship program for our young people. We make sure that all of our students take and pass a college course before they complete their graduation requirements with us. And we really build a very strong community where students are bonded very tightly with each other.
All right, now I'm going to break format. When are you going to bring them here to watch them, sit in the studio and watch some TV shows and learn about media? I'd be happy to teach them.
I am going to take you up on that
All right,
invitation.
that's good. But now we can talk about the academics during the school year, but the summer program, let's talk about the 6-week summer accelerator program. What is that? Why is that? And how was it this summer?
Yeah, so, incoming ninth grade students, particularly students in those middle school years, are often between programs. They might be too young for the summer youth employment program. They might be too old for a lot of the other summer camps. And so there are many of those students that don't have access to quality programs in the summer. And so what we did is we designed really a first of its kind robotics summer accelerator in partnership with NYC First, where our young people could get hands-on with learning robotics and build some of the foundational pre-algebra skills so that they could be ready for high school. And in addition, they get their first high school credit. They get a $400 stipend for completion of the program, and they come to school on the first day already with a group of young people that they're connected with.
I'm going to do two things. Number one, I was in middle school. I know the age of those young people. They're confused. They don't know if they're young. They don't know if they're old. They don't know where they're at. And you find this to be a good way to transition them from that challenging moment in their growth to, doing better and focusing on what will help them.
100%. I mean, the young people that were a part of our program didn't miss a day. They were there every day, excited
Really?
to meet their new classmates, diving in on robotics for the first time. And what was really wonderful about this particular program is students didn't need to have any experience with robotics before coming in. What we had them do is build, robotic cars, and then they actually had to program those cars using mathematical equations to measure distance and create specific turns, etc.
When we see these kinds of programs in the Bronx for Bronx young people, specifically those in those 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old ages, they're not aware that the world is out there. And what you've done here is show them that the world is out there. I want to ask you something about the notion of the young people in the summer. One would think that when they finish school, they're like, okay, now I want to, play or get away from it. Do you incorporate other things so that they realize it is summertime? It is, after all, 95 degrees outside, so that they have a summer as well as, of course, these wonderful academic programs?
I'm really glad you asked that. Yeah, I mean, this program is not, test prep and bubble sheets. This is students getting to work.
Thank you.
This is students getting to work hands-on with complex tools and really build foundational skills that could be, a future career for them. In addition to that, we're providing them with 2 meals. They're in a beautiful air-conditioned classroom in our facility, and we do recreational activities with them every single day of the program, and we've taken them on a few field trips as well.
It is, I've been around, I grew up in the Bronx, of course. It is so important to let them know and let them see firsthand that they are valued, because everything else around them, many of the people, I don't want to characterize neighborhoods, but we all know what goes on in our neighborhoods. And then they come to a place where it's like, wait a minute, not only am I protected, but now there's stimulation. I could build something, I can learn something. What about the interaction between them? Are they coming from the same school so they know each other? Or do you have to do here's Jose, here's Serena, and have them introduce each other?
So we do. So they are coming from different schools.
Different schools.
And so we do something unique at our school. We have a morning circle that we do every morning, even with a group like this, where the young people actually have to design a short activity. It could be a plank contest. It could be some sort of trivia game. But we play a game for 15 minutes at the start of the day. And the young people get ready for the day, but they also get a chance to get to know each other a little bit better. And so by the end of the program, all of these young people, when they walk out of our building, they're throwing a football and playing catch with each other.
Wow.
They're excited to be able to
I'm tempted to ask this. I don't want to discourage anybody. Is there a cost for it, or and how is that handled?
So,
because I know parents who are watching are going to say, well, wait a minute, that's nice, but we paid $4,000 for summer camp.
Yeah. So importantly, this program is completely free.
Dun, 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 dun.
And as I mentioned, students actually received a stipend. So our partnership with New York City First and XQ that designed the program really wanted to make sure that students understood that we were placing a value on their attendance. And so you show that to young people. Of course, young people who are 14 years old.
Right at that impressionable age. Go ahead, keep going.
You show it to them by ensuring that they're being compensated for their time in some way. So they're getting high school credit, they're building foundational skills, they're building relationships, and they're getting some pocket change that they can then use.
You're painting a really nice picture, and now I'm thinking of the mind of those young people. So now I've done this, I've met other people, I've been involved in this. School gets opened at the beginning of September. they walk in and they say, wait a minute, I know how things should be. Do they all come to your school afterwards?
They do.
They do. So that's part of the process.
And not a requirement. So we had young people that came to us this program that had intentions to go to other schools, and that's okay for us. What we really wanted to make sure is that young people had the opportunity. All of the students decided that they wanted to continue on with us. They've built relationships. They've met our wonderful math teacher. They've gotten to know each other really well. And to your point, when other young people might be anxious over that, this Labor Day break coming up, these young people are thinking, oh, I can't wait to see my friends again.
Okay, I want to ask our people, put me on the camera, please. I love this, and we need this all over the Bronx. Congratulations to John and his people. I want every school and every organization that can do this over the summer. So there we go. Is that good?
That's beautiful. Can I mention just quickly
Of course,
a couple of
you
other
must.
programs? So Brilla Charter Schools ran a wonderful program this summer with Code for Life, where students were learning coding through a month-long program. Rosalind Yallow Charter School had a really wonderful chess program. They have an amazing chess program, and they're first in the state in chess competitions. And then Mott Haven Academy Charter School really did a wonderful sleepaway theater camp for their young people this summer.
You mentioned chess, the notion of chess. The Bronx has, for decades, and maybe even prior to when I've been involved, has always done very well in chess. We had a national chess champion who was like 15 years old. And just briefly, if you would just talk about the value of that game for the young people that you're working with.
Oh, I mean, chess is a strategy game, builds students' critical thinking skills, and it allows them to really transfer those skills to the logic that they need to engage with in their mathematics classes. And believe it or not, there's a real social component to the program as well.
I'm tempted to ask this. Is there a sense of magic that you have students who come in and they're really not sure, okay, I'm coming into the program, et cetera, and they've been disenfranchised just about everywhere else they've looked, and then all of a sudden you see a revelation?
Absolutely.
You do. You see it every day?
We
got to hang out with this guy. We'll all be a lot happier.
But I really do see it every day. I mean, there are so many tropes about young people, and people tend to be scared of teenagers in our community. And the reality is, they're sweet, they're kind, they're inquisitive.
Then those people are not talking to Bronx kids. How do they get in touch with you? How do they get to the school? What do they need to know?
Okay, so South Bronx Community Charter High School, we're on Washington Avenue in Morrisania. We'd love to be introduced to new folks, new partners, new young people.
Like Bronxnet and Lehman College?
Absolutely.
That would
be wonderful. And Gary, I would love for our young people to meet you.
John Clement, co-founder and executive director of the Sobro Community Charter High School. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for taking care of our kids.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. For more information, you can visit the website at southbronxcommunity.org. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open right after this.
We are the Eco Leaders.
We learned that everything starts with ourselves. Then we have to educate ourselves. Then we have to build community and use our imagination.
Welcome back to Open. The Young Center for Immigrant Children's Rights works to protect and advance the rights and best interests of immigrant children by putting their voices and well-being at the center of its advocacy. Through a child-centered approach, the organization works to make sure each child is seen as a unique individual and has opportunities to participate in decisions that impact their lives and future. Joining us to discuss the work of this organization is Ari Cannavino, a volunteer coordinator at the Young Center for Immigrant Children's Rights. Nice to see you with us, Ari. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
This is, as I said to you as soon as you sat down, this is a very difficult problem. Assess the problem, if you would. What problem are you and the Young Center for Immigrant Children's Rights trying to address?
Yeah, so one of the things we're really focusing on specifically with the Young Center is the accompaniment of unaccompanied and separated immigrant children who are currently in government care. So they're in facilities, many of which are right here in the Bronx. And these are children who are either separated from their family or who arrived to the country alone. And so they don't have that immediate family member with them. So we're here to really help fill that gap in that justice and be the best interest and like really be an amplifier for the accompaniment of these children.
Now, to be clear, we've never seen this at this level before, right? I mean, this is happening now.
It's happening now, but we have been here for over 20 years, and we've been kind of
dealing with this
yeah.
on a much different level. I'm just curious, when you say that some of them are in the Bronx, where are they detained in the Bronx? I frankly wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, there are facilities that are caring for the children throughout the Bronx in different neighborhoods throughout the entire borough. I can't give the quiet locations out, but throughout the borough.
We can't say where they are. That I fully understand that. Are the children, they've been separated from their parents or from their families, or many of them really didn't have families?
It's a mixture. Some of them came alone, some of them have lost their family and don't have any adults to return to, and some of them were separated.
How many? Do we know how many?
So the Young Center only serves a fraction of the population. So what we do is we take on the more difficult cases of children who were kind of caught up more in the system and have different kind of routes for advocacy that we're helping them explore. Here in New York, we take on over 200 cases a year.
Wow.
Nationally, we take on a few thousand.
What are the ages of the children?
So we specifically interact with children through infancy up until 18, and then if we've taken a case before a child turns 18, we can help them a little bit afterwards as well.
I don't know how well you can answer this question, but this would be maybe the fundamental question. How are they doing and how are they treated, or is that a mixed bag? Because, of course, we hear all kinds of stories about some of these detention centers and everything else.
Yeah, it's a very mixed bag per the child as well for how the situation that they're in. A lot of them up until this point have been through something very, very difficult to get to here, to get to this point in their lives. It's been a difficult and very potentially traumatizing to be separated. Just the natural state of being separated is pretty traumatizing for a lot of children.
Pretty traumatizing, to say the least. What is the prospects for these young people? Are they going to be, frankly, deported somewhere? Will they ultimately somehow be reunited with families? Will they be given to foster homes? I mean, I can't even think of all the many options.
That is some of the options. Sometimes they are returned to their home country. Sometimes they go to long-term foster cares or foster cares here. And a lot of times we are able to connect them with a family member, community member, their parents, or another kind of like long-term family member or family friend to care for the child. But that's where volunteers come in to help kind of determine that.
We're going to get to the volunteer part in a minute. The legal aspect of it, obviously we need to have attorneys and other representatives who really know how to deal with this. I'm dying to ask, success stories, does it work? You get moved children who are in this very difficult situation to more stable lives and maybe even with a future.
Yes, we are able to see a lot of success, a lot of children who are reunited.
Gary's going to applaud. No, this is just so
and who are doing very well right now. The Young Center was actually named after one of our first children that we took care of, a young child with the last name Young. And
the name was Young, even though it's the Young.
It works on multiple levels, But a very successful story you can look into.
So, you are a volunteer coordinator.
Yes.
Who are the volunteers and what do they do in this process?
So our volunteers are an amazing cohort of community members throughout the
Yes,
city.
they are amazing.
I adore them
Gary's
all.
going to vote yes for that.
And they are over 21 years old who are able to speak a second language. We're mostly using Spanish and indigenous Central American languages, who are able to meet with a child for just an hour a week with one child throughout the duration of that kid's case. And they're able to go in with them, play with them, get to know that child's stories, but they don't have to have any specific background, just a willingness to go through some background checks because they are in a very kind of special position, and just an openness of getting to know the child.
I have to ask, how many do you have? And can I assume the need is always
Yes.
much larger?
Our need is always growing. We have just over 100 advocates right here in New York that are currently with us. And the problem that we're facing right now is a lot of the children's cases they're in custody and they're in the care a lot longer than they used to be. So they're kind of separated a lot longer, which means their volunteers aren't coming back to us to do new cases to the same level that they used to before.
When you say longer than they used to be, I shudder to ask the question, how long are they?
So currently we're seeing children in the care of federal custody for about on average the time it's for like a school year right now. So it's a good chunk of a child's life. Sometimes a child will be in and out very quickly. Sometimes it can take months. So we're really kind of focusing on advocating for them throughout the duration of that case.
And how often do the volunteers get to work with them? Because there's all this covert stuff, the ICE and whomever else is not allowing people to see how well adult detainees are doing. That it's a major news story across the country. How is it for the children? Is it different or is it similar?
It is different for the children because of something called the TVPRA, which helps protect unaccompanied and separated children. So we are able to be federally appointed. So all of our volunteers are federally appointed to that
that's
child.
interesting.
So they're able to meet for that 1 hour a week, and they have a federal right to see the child.
I'm tempted to ask this. Of course, the easiest question is why do we need to do this? But that's a much larger question. Are there things in the system that you and your colleagues look at and say, gee, we understand this is going on. If we could do this, it might work a little better? Like what do we need to improve the current system? I realize there may be politics involved in the larger question, but I'm talking about just in the care of these children who are in this situation.
I will say the policy team could probably speak on it a
Say
lot.
it again?
Our policy team can
Okay.
definitely talk about this a lot better than I can. But something that we're constantly kind of advocating for is just making it child-centered. Making sure the child is really centered at all of these decisions and seeing it from a viewpoint of someone who is
Do the
underage.
children have a voice? Do they have something that they can input that helps them out? Certainly therapeutically, I can understand that.
Yeah, so that's what our volunteers do. They're the amplifier of that voice. Children that are immigrant children here in the U.S. don't have a legal right to a best interest determination. So whereas maybe like a U.S.-born citizen might. So what we do is we help fill that gap, and our volunteers are there to amplify the child's wishes, see what they want for their own life, see where they feel safe, who they want to be, what kind of access and resources they might need to best do that, and who they feel safe with in their community. Occasionally that's returning to home country. That might be the safest.
That might be the
option
safest
for
at
them.
this point.
Yeah, and for the past 20 years as well.
Presumably they would have families there. I mean, you don't want to send them back to a situation where they
Yes.
are uncared
Yeah.
for. One thing that you mentioned, and I'm trying to get my head around it, the notion of infants. Now, those infants aren't going to be sitting in a classroom
No,
or
correct.
playing with Legos or something. They really need care.
So they need the basis of care, but what we do is we don't match the very, very young ones with volunteers. But here at the Young Center, we have a team of caseworkers and like clinicians as well as lawyers who work with us, and we'll do kind of the behind the scenes and help advocate behind the scenes for infants. to help reunite them as best as
I
possible.
mean, you know, we look about who are American heroes. These volunteers are,
They're
as far
amazing.
as I'm concerned, are American heroes. Because you think about the children being isolated, being alone, being in a strange. I mean, they could list all the problems, but to have somebody with a friendly face and a friendly voice, a knowledgeable voice,
Yes.
is undoubtedly vital for the children. So, just to sum up. What do people need to know, and certainly people with immigrant children or people who are concerned about status, what should they know that can help in some form?
Well, I mean, specifically what we do at the Young Center, I would say if you can remember a time in your life that you had a really like an adult in your corner, maybe outside of your family, that really stood up for you, that really helped you through a difficult time, you can be that person now. If you're feeling overwhelmed by a lot of this and maybe unsure, you can be that specific adult to a young child right now. We just ask that you go on our website. You can kind of read all about it there and attend one of our informal information sessions.
Ari Cannavino, you are a hero, just like all the others, and thank you so much for
Thank you
taking
for having
care
me.
of children of every nationality, every ethnicity, all deserve a healthy and happy life, and you're doing your best to deal with this very difficult situation. And I'll just speak for myself, the crew at Bronxnet, and all of Bronxnet Television. We love you and we support what you do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And for more information, visit the website that she talked about at the Young Center, named after somebody, youngcenter.org. And we'll have more open right after we take a break. Don't go away.
There's a new channel to explore, and it's bringing the classics back to life. During the day, relive the Bronxnet originals that sparked conversations and built community. At night, dive into the hip-hop throwbacks that defined a generation. One destination, two powerful lineups. Now playing on Optimum Channel 952, Fios 2138, and streaming at bronxnet.tv. BX Legacy, where history meets the moment.
.7% of Bronxites currently experience food insecurity. Meanwhile, instead of these nice, colorful foods, this is the best food that they have access to. If this sounds like you, there are a bunch of resources to get healthy food for free or cheap. If you want to help, you might consider donating or volunteering in one of these places. Community fridges like this one are all over the city, and allow New Yorkers to conveniently donate extra food to people who might need it. Go to this link and find your nearest one. Food banks and pop-up events like these provide millions of healthy meals to families in need. These organizations are distributing meals to Bronxites as we speak, and are always accepting donations and volunteers.
Welcome back to Open. For millions of patients with psoriasis, the challenges don't always stop at the skin. Up to 30% of patients with plaque psoriasis may develop active, I hope I pronounce this right, psoriatic arthritis, a chronic autoimmune disease that causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling. If left untreated, active psoriatic arthritis can lead to permanent joint damage, which can significantly limit a person's mobility and ability to perform simple daily tasks. Joining us to discuss this more is rheumatologist Dr. Angela Crowley, and she joins us virtually along with Joni, a young mother of two whose psoriasis progressed to active psoriatic arthritis. So let us say hello to Dr. Crowley and to Joni. Dr. Crowley, nice to see you.
Hi, thank you, you too.
Thanks for joining us. And Joni, we'll get to you in a moment. Explain what I just reviewed very quickly, and because it's something that I mean, I'm not a medical doctor, but it's something I had never heard before. So why don't you give us a little background, if you would?
Yes, it's important that patients understand that there is a connection between that skin disease of psoriasis and then the joints with arthritis. Up to 30% of patients with psoriasis, as you mentioned, may ultimately develop psoriatic arthritis. And symptoms of that would be things like pain, redness, swelling in the joints, stiffness in the low back, and then the rash of psoriasis. It's important to pay attention to that because that can lead to permanent joint damage as early as 6 months. That's why we're excited to partner with Johnson & Johnson today to bring awareness to this disease and a possible treatment option.
Well, why does that happen? I'm not a chemist or a medical doctor, and why is it somewhat of a surprise or something that people with psoriasis may not be aware of the possibility of it developing in that way?
Right, it's an autoimmune disease. So the same process, the immune system attacks the skin, it can also attack the joints. And so they should be sort of on the lookout for that, anyone with psoriasis.
What are the, let's start with psoriasis. What are the preventative or the treatments that they use to treat psoriasis? And then what do you have to do to treat this psoriatic arthritic problem?
Well, a lot of it is the same treatment. So we do have advanced therapies called biologics. TREMFYA is one that I use with my patients, also known as guselkumab. And this can help stop that further joint damage, which can happen with psoriatic arthritis. Of course, this treatment isn't for everyone. Patients should talk to their doctors. It can cause serious side effects like liver problems, infections, and allergic reactions. It works by lowering the immune system a bit, so patients can be at risk for infections. Patients should read that information, the safety information packet that comes with the medication, and then they can talk to their doctors if they have questions.
Joni, thank you for joining us. Now, you're a mom of two. This situation, an easy guess is that it has complicated your life significantly. Talk to me a little bit about how you discovered it, what your situation is, and then, of course, put it in context with the fact that you're raising children.
Yeah, absolutely. I was diagnosed with plaque psoriasis when I was a teenager, and the focus was always on managing plaques on my skin and on my scalp. And as a long-time psoriasis patient, I knew that there was always a possibility that I could be diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis. So when I started noticing changes in the morning, I would wake up with stiff fingers, stiff hands, stiff ankles and feet. I couldn't walk down the stairs. I couldn't make a cup of coffee. And I knew that it was a possibility, so spoke to my dermatologist, and he diagnosed me with psoriatic arthritis.
And so what have you done to deal with it so that you can live as normal and as healthy a life as possible, and certainly is raise your children?
Mm-hmm. I've been on TREMFYA for the past 5 years, and it has helped me be able to just get back to those day-to-day things. I'm able to coach their lacrosse teams, run around with them, exercise, and just be able to work full time, and simple things like driving a car, pouring that coffee, because that's really, really important. And I just love having also the peace of mind that it's helping to stop the further joint damage so that I can continue to be active as my kids grow and as I grow.
You know, every time they advertise, I don't know about this particular medication, but every time they advertise any medication, all of a sudden they list, 15 different potential side effects. Have you had any, is it just a matter of taking a pill, that kind of thing, and then you have other side effects, or really it's been just tremendous because it's helped your problem without those side effects?
Mm-hmm. For my experience, I've had none, but everybody's different. So it's definitely something to talk to your doctor about before deciding to go on treatment, or if something does come up while you're on it, just to call them immediately.
Are you, I ask people with these kinds of issues all the time, hopeful or hopeless? It seems to me that you're pretty hopeful that wow, this actually can be dealt with, even though it can be a debilitating issue.
Yes, and I'm happy that I was able to get the help right away because I knew that it was a possibility. So at the first moments I felt the stiffness and pain, I was able to connect with my doctor and start a new treatment plan.
So let's bring in Dr. Crowley again. Doc, when you talk to patients, is this a difficult problem? Is it easy for them to accept the kinds of treatment they need? I mean, because they're coming to you undoubtedly in pain and saying, wait, I've got this terrible problem. It's now become even worse. Just talk to me about treating it, number one, medically, but also mentally and emotionally, so that people can figure out how to live with it and how to deal with it.
Well, yes, it can be a difficult diagnosis to make. So some patients have had problems for quite a while before they get to me.
Wow.
That's why I think it's important. I think it's important, like Joni did, to really listen to their body, speak up, advocate for themselves, talk to their dermatologist and their rheumatologist so they can get that good diagnosis early. They can also go to TREMFYA.com if they have questions.
Oh, now that's interesting. On one hand, personally, I would always rather talk to the doctor before I talk to the people who manufacture the medication. Do you get the sense that others in your profession are well educated about it, or it's one of those things that if you don't go to the right doctor, then maybe it's not going to be treated properly? Or is this generally in the medical profession understood of exactly how to deal with this?
It is quite common. It's one of the most common causes of autoimmune arthritis. And so I think anyone dealing with new joint pain, if they see a rheumatologist, hopefully they'll get to the right diagnosis and treatment.
About what percentage of people, how common is this through, the general population, I guess, here in the States or even all over the world?
Somewhere between 1% to 2% of the population.
So what is the bottom line then, Dr. Crowley? What would you recommend to people?
I think the most important thing to know is just to act early. We want to catch this disease early so that we can stop that progression of any joint damage so they don't have permanent deformities. And
Joni, congratulations and thank you for joining us. And final words to other patients. What should they hear from you?
I would mimic what Dr. Crowley says, is to get help right away and just ask questions. It doesn't hurt to ask, so get there quickly.
Great. Dr. Angelo Crowley and Joni, thank you so much for joining us. And let's all stay healthy. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having us.
For folks watching, for more information, again, visit the website at TREMFYA.com. And we'll tell you, stick around. We'll be right back with more Open.
What's up, creative family? Discover your voice with Bronxnet community media classes. Are you ready to bring your ideas to life? At Bronxnet, we offer television production classes for community members ages 18 and over, empowering you to share your vision with the world. Get certified in field production, in-studio production, and our new exciting addition, podcast production. Once certified, you can create your own show to air on one of our 6 TV channels. It all starts with our free Unleash Your Ideas Masterclass, designed to help you plan your show idea and set you up for success on your production journey. This class is offered at the beginning of each month for your convenience. Our dedicated Bronxnet team is here to support, encourage, and uplift you every step of the way. Join us and become a part of the creative force that engages and inspires the Bronx community and beyond. Sign up today and start your media journey with Bronxnet. Visit bronxnet.org/education to learn more and register. Let's create something amazing together.
We're going to start the show right now. This is my favorite part. Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey, this is Angel, and I am one of the instructors for the in-studio production. Here at Bronxnet, we offer classes that can help you elevate, expand, and start your television career. All you have to do is sign up at bronxnet.org/education. For the past 7 years, I have been in various productions, spanning from talk shows, independent films, news reports, art displays, teachings, musical performances, and many more. Ain't that right, Angel? Yeah, you're absolutely right, Angel. There are a lot of creative individuals that we're just waiting to sign up for the class. And if I may, can I also express thank you, Angel. That's all the time we have left. Visit bronxnet.org/education and become a producer by taking the course. The class I offer is also in English, en español y también bilingüe. Nos vemos en la próxima clase.
Okay, welcome back to Open. Everybody knows about this. Stress, anxiety, and negative thought patterns can become part of our daily routine, sometimes without us even realizing it. In his new book, The Broken Sage, one behavioral coach introduces what he calls the diet of the mind, an approach that focuses on identifying toxic thoughts, understanding our conscious and unconscious patterns, and the breaking of the cycle of painful stories that can keep us stuck. Joining us to share more about the diet of the mind is Mike Basevic, who is a behavioral coach and author of The Broken Sage. Mike, nice to have you with us. Thanks.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Boy, if you can help me relieve my stress, man, I'll elect you president.
We can actually do that. It's unfortunate that everyone feels that that's just part of who they are and what they need to experience, right? And we were just talking about that this morning with a group that I coach, a bunch of executives and professionals, and their new normal now is that flow state, being in the zone every day. And one of them commented, I said, boy, it's just weird how we always equated work with stress. So the diet for the mind you mentioned is one of the first things that I teach my clients. It's an important piece of many that I outline in the book. But the diet for the mind is just that. Everyone is really conscious about what they put in their body every day, right? You don't just shovel things in without paying attention to what you're eating.
Correct.
We need to do the same with our mind. We need to be healthier. The conversations we're having, the people we hang out with, the things that we're ruminating about, and the things we're feeding our mind are so toxic.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, I'm a media person. You look at the media, everything around us, the news is negative, things are difficult. I mean, listen, we can debate the politics of everything.
Yeah.
And that's part of it because people are saying, well, what should we do? What should we not do? How do you, protect your mind? How do you get into it so that you don't get lost in it and find positive ways of looking at the world or looking at yourself?
Yeah, it's a healthy approach. So I call it the 3 F's. The first F is focus, the second F is filter, and the third F is feed. The focus piece, it's really important to focus on what's important in your life. Now, whatever you focus on, whatever subject, verbally, mentally, emotionally, what we're thinking about, speaking about, feeling about, has to be something important. So whatever we give our mind, the mind's job is to give it back to us. So we want to give it healthy things. So I always recommend people should have a vision in their life, what they want to create short-term, long-term, where they're going in their life, and also to include the person they want to be. So personally, I want to be this type of person. Professionally, I want to be this type of person, great colleague, great performer, a great resource for my clients. Whatever it is you want to be, you've got to write that down and write the vision of what you want to create, the life you want to have, and read that every day. And stay connected on it and focus on the things that are important. The mind is a machine. It'll give you what you give it, and that's its job. And so the more toxic subjects we give the mind, it spits it back to us. That second F is filter. What are we allowing in every day? Now, again, I mentioned what we're allowing into our body every day. Our mouth is our filter for our body. You have to have a filter for your mind. The subjects. It's okay to watch the news. It's okay to check on subjects you feel important, but when you inundate yourself with that, it's really unhealthy. If I'm sitting with somebody arguing politics, what's our argument going to do? How are we going to change things? It's going to tick me off, tick them off, or whatever. And same thing if you're just swallowing this stuff up every day, or just toxic subjects. If you go to work and you're complaining and you're around other people that complain. So you got to have a strong mental filter. What are we watching? What are we reading? What are we Googling? What are we doing on social media? Who are we hanging out with, and what are we talking to them about? And you've got to clean up the environment. You've got to become healthy. And everyone has subjects in their life that makes them feel good, and they empowering subjects. So every conversation or every focus should be productive, should be healthy, should be happy, should be fun. And then you start retraining that mind, because it's going to take direction from you, just like it does if you become a pessimist or skeptical, for example. And so the mind will become whatever you give it consistently. And that third feed is the third F. And when you feed your mind healthy imagery, everything that the mind thinks in pictures. If I say, think of your car, think of your spouse, think of your friend, you're going to think of a picture of them in your mind. So feed the mind healthy pictures all day long. You look behind me here on my shelves, I've got everything that makes me feel good. My book, my marriage, my wife, my family, vacations. And I surround myself with visual imagery all the time that makes us feel good. And I needed this 20 years ago. As I describe in the book, my life hit the skids and I was a mess. And when I started to uncover these truths about how the mind works, one of the first things I did was put myself on a diet. And I started to flood my mind with things that feel good. And I literally, the mind changed. That was one of many pieces I describe in the book, but it's an important piece.
You know, it's funny because when you say you put yourself on a diet and everybody thinks, well, I'll do skim milk instead of whole milk, that's a whole other thing. But you're talking about a diet of the mind. Now, I don't want to talk about myself, but now, because you talk about media and all that, and obviously I'm involved in the media and I work in the media, so I have to watch the news.
Yes.
And I will tell you, advice I've gotten and some of the things I've taught myself, which really is in sync with what you're saying, I remind myself, you know what, if I have a weekend, find the things that I enjoy, do those things and walk away, because for me personally, and I bet I'm talking to a lot of, like everybody's not as involved in news and media like I am, but a lot of people are involved with the problems in their office, the problems with their family, financial problems, it's all out there. I guess what you're saying is find a way to break away, right?
Yeah, and when you're doing that stuff, it's fine. I've had many news anchors come through my program. I
Really?
can count at least 8 to 10.
I'm not alone.
No. And I say, try to do your best to not become emotional about the subjects, because, everything, whatever generation we're in, there's been crises, right? There's always something going on, right? And so do your best to try to not get emotional about it. And then, like you said, cleanse yourself, in your downtime, do things that make you happy, do things that are fun. And any great leader knows that they're always focused on the solution. Right? We could talk about the problem, identify the problem. Don't ignore problems in your life. Identify it, but go to the solution. Don't continually talk about your bad day, your bad week, your problem, and this and that. And, oh my God, if it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. That's all paradigms, right? And the more that we feed our mind that stuff, the mind doesn't have an opinion. It doesn't have a judgment. It literally becomes what you teach it. So sure, I'll give you more problems. I was somebody that believed that I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I had success early on in my life before I completely collapsed. Yeah. And I didn't think I deserved it. And I was always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
So I'm going to fire my therapist and you're hired.
You got to do.
If that's okay.
You got to do.
But what I really want to ask you about, success stories, people that you've talked to, people if you read the book, have read the book, do you find that you get feedback that people say, wow, I'm already saying you're right, but do you find that other people, that you're surrounded with people who give you the positive reinforcement?
Oh yeah, we've had thousands of people come through my program, and we're proud to say, our results are stellar, because the mind will do whatever you train it to do. And the most feedback I get, that first piece, the Diet for the Mind in week 1, and also, the first thing I talk about in the book when I talk about the teachings, the formula, they'd say, wow, I didn't realize I was so sloppy. I didn't realize I was so negative, pessimistic, and filled with drama, and I've got to clean up this environment. And then a month later, they don't even recognize the person today, right? So because now their mind is completely different. And again, your mind will do whatever you train it to do. And I did a podcast episode yesterday. Our podcast is Life is an Inside Job. And it was The podcast episode was all about the way your mind is trained. And so you're out east, right? So you know that I'm from Chicago. I speak differently than the folks out east, but we speak the same language. It's the way we've trained our mind based on what we're surrounded with. So the mind is literally just running a program, operating based on everything we fed it our entire life. So now we start to feed it healthy, the mind's going to respond easily and it's going to start becoming healthy. And what does that mean for you? It means that we feel better. It means that our emotions, our mind is quieter, it's more optimistic, it's happier. And so, yeah, the results we get for our clients and the people, we've gotten tremendous reviews on the book because like it wakes people up. So I never knew this.
You've woken me up, and I'm here hosting the TV show. We're talking with behavioral coach and author Mike Basevic. The book is The Broken Sage. And I'm going to conclude, and then I'll give you about 30 seconds to conclude. If we all do this, think about the kind of positive world when you sit on the bus or you sit on the subway or you go into the grocery store. People will feel like saying, hey, what's up? And to me, that builds a better world. Now, I'll give you 30 seconds to summarize.
The ripple effect on this is huge. You know, with our clients, their families, their businesses, their environments, and life conditions us to be miserable. And we wake up stressed and overwhelmed and inadequate. We don't feel we belong. And it's just not supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
And so when you change the mind, when you teach the mind to operate the way it's supposed to, life becomes a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable.
Listen, Mike, you're great, man. I'm having a better day already. I really I really appreciate it. And so you work out and you talk to people in groups and you do podcasts, you do all kinds of things. Everybody check out Mike Basevic. The book is The Broken Sage. Is that's what we're talking about?
Yeah, thebrokensage.com. And you can get it at any one of your realtors, but if you go there,
great.
And you get it on ebook and the audio book will be up soon. But yeah, it's and the book is really landing with people.
I vote yes. Thank you so much, Mike Basevic. We really appreciate your time.
Great
for more information, once again, you can visit the website at brokensage.com. And we will we've come to the end of the show today. So I'd like to thank all the guests for joining us and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recablecast on Optimum Channel 67, Verizon Fios 2133, or watch anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with Rena Valentine on Friday. And that wraps up this episode for us. I'm Gary Axelbank. Peace.